wanting to be of service. Like, we had extra wipes, they could use them, here you go. I'm happy that I took my time and learned how to operate this business versus having a full house in the first 6 months. There are not a lot of medical clients, which is a lie, because there are a lot. They're just not classified as such, and the clients that need medical attention are in standard group homes, not getting it. Don't trust the support plan. Don't trust it. The support plan, a lot of times there's a lot of information left out. Now this is about to be a crash course. So just, keep in mind when you say, I want my house full, which I have been saying the last few weeks, like I'm ready for it now, you be real careful what you ask for. 'Cause here we go. I'm here. This is what you're going to get.
All right, let me not mess with you. What you did today?
Today we went to do a patient assessment. So at our group home, before anybody moves in, we do like a 2-part interview. The family visits our home, or the waiver support coordinator, whoever's in charge of making the decision. They are to visit and tour our home. And then as a second part of the interview, we go and visit the client at wherever they currently live. And for us, it has to be a yes on both sides. We do that in-person visit, not only because the support plans generally have inaccurate information, but it gives us the opportunity to see for ourselves how the individual behaves, to talk directly to the people that have been working with that individual in a home-based setting, and also to do an assessment of like inventory and equipment, so we know what they're coming with or what we need to get. And then we also hold out like a 30-day move-in date. So from the moment that we say yes, if they schedule a transition call, we're going to say it's a 30-day move-in. And what that allows us to do is to prep, rearrange the rooms as we have to based on the equipment that they have or don't have, get the doctor's orders that we need to get those things ordered, because the goal is to have them come fresh. We do not accept furniture from other homes, only clothes and a medical bed. But most times we're also going to order a new medical bed. And we just do that for like sanitary reasons, to make sure we're not inviting any creatures that may be living in anything into our home. So today we went to do the patient visit. The guardian came on Monday, I think it was, and like he called the group home at 4:30, and I was packing up and I was getting ready to leave. He had been to this place called SECO, which is like a it's like a therapy center for individuals with cerebral palsy that we had been working to build a relationship with. We had invited them out to our home. We donate surplus supplies to them just because, they serve our target clients, and we just felt like one day maybe they would know somebody that would need the services that we offer. And he ended up going there for a tour, and they weren't able to get him the services that he needed, but then they gave us a glowing review and a referral, and they gave him our contact number. So he called at 4:30 and was like, when I gave him the address, he was like, oh my God, I'm 3 minutes away. I live right around the corner. Can I come now? And so here we are chatting with this guy. His, I don't know what you call him, his ward, since he's a guardian and it's not his son. He describes him very passionately, like this guy loves this little boy. Well, shit, I guess he's a man. He's 26. But anyways, he came with like a poster board of photos of him, showed us all these videos in the phone, and just talked very passionately about what his life has been like being the guardian for this young man over the last 12 years. Anywho, we go to visit, and I tell him ahead of time, because a lot of what he's looking for, because we're medically focused and most of our individuals are bedbound, I explained to him, he doesn't quite fit. He fits a little bit. He's in a wheelchair. He's nonverbal, but he eats. No one else in our home eats, and he can move himself around in the wheelchair. No one else in our home is able to do that. So he's slightly different. He's also a non-nursing client, But quite honestly, when he pulled out that poster board and you saw his little face, yeah, it was a wrap. And I've been good. I'm usually good about our no's because there have been a lot of people, a lot of families that have come to the home and they didn't meet our criteria for whatever reason or another, and we had to respectfully decline. But this one got me. And so we are driving to the house, and another referral comes out, and I have like Eva looking at it, and it turns out that this is the other individual in the same home. This is a group home that's closing. They only have 2 individuals left. Um, but again, another non-nursing client, and his support plan makes it sound like he has like bad behaviors. And again, we are very protective of our staff and what they have to deal with. So we don't take any clients with behaviors. And he, in particular, they said he was verbally abusive, which, that's not something we would want to expose our staff to. But we walk into the house and he is the absolute opposite of everything on the support plan. And he has this big old smile. It's like, hi, guys. Hi. Just excited to have visitors in the house. And immediately we're like, yep, we're about to end up with both of these guys. And this was like, sometimes there's a choice and you're weighing pros and cons. And sometimes it's like an instant, yep. And that's what happened with both of them the moment you saw each of their faces. And so now we have 2 new clients moving in. Because their group home is closing, this is going to be one of the quickest turnarounds we've ever done, likely a week to 2 weeks, because really they're the only 2 people in a home. There's no more staff. There's just this one guy hanging in there to not abandon them. And their placement is all that's keeping him in Florida. The moment those 2 residents move out, he's out of here. So we don't think he has 30 days in him. And they haven't officially put out like the 30-day notice for the residents. So yes, the second individual is 21. He has capacity, very, very smart. He is in a wheelchair, so he does not have mobility, but it's an electric wheelchair. He can use his cell phone. He plays video games, and he got a little girl he got a crush on, so he's trying to be about that life. So, and he eats. So these 2 clients that are coming in are going to be very different from the current house. However, knowing that we have the second home coming online by the end of the year, ideally we would take them into the current home and then they would become the initial residents for the second home. And then that house will be for people who eat, and we can keep the original house for, medically focused, non-eating maybe. We'll see. It's all moving so fast. And you can have an empty house and it can be full immediately if you happen to have your house and then the next day some other home closes. And we could have had a full house in our first year, but again, we were very, very selective with the residents that we accepted. And we weren't in a rush because we wanted to make sure we were getting everything right. So we did like one resident every 6 months. And then there's been a full year since we had a new move in. Um, and now, out of nowhere, there will be 2. And that house will essentially be full because it can have 6. This 2 will make 5. Plus, we already have our respite client that visits and spends the night occasionally. And so he would technically be 6 at that house if his mom ever decided to place him. But also, we won't take that house to 6 until the second house opens, just because I have so much like furniture in the house that the only way to open up that last bedroom for the 6th person would be to like get rid of my office and get a storage unit to house all of my furniture that was in my
Secondhand restoration hardware furniture, very important, close to the heart. I understand.
So now we have to reach out to our respite client's mom to inform her that we will be taking 2 additional residents. And we'll have to move her son's visiting bed to another room to accommodate the two new residents. And July is about to be crazy because now you have 5 people in the house, plus the visitor, our visiting resident. He's there at least 2 or 3 weeks this month because his mom is taking some trips. So we're gonna have a full house of 6 um, for 50% of the month of July, and that's gonna be crazy because it's a bunch of new stuff. It's full house, people that eat, people that are moving around, someone that's talking. So it's just a lot of new at once, which I try to avoid with the one resident at a time, uh, a couple months each. Now this is about to be a crash course. So just, keep in mind when you say I want my house full, which I have been saying the last few weeks, like I'm ready for it now. You be real careful what you ask for. 'Cause here we go.
Yeah, because not only are you
Yeah.
having to have individuals move in, but you have to learn their support plans. You have to learn their family members and schedules and things. You have to learn how your staff is going to integrate with these new individuals
Yep.
and just how the whole process is going to play out.
And do I need more staff? And I have a week planned in Turks and Caicos that I don't plan to cancel. And that happens probably the week after they would move in. But also, we don't have to get ahead of it because none of it can happen. Now that all parties have said yes, nothing can happen until APD schedules a transition call. And the last time we were waiting on APD to schedule a transition call, it took them like 2 months to get the call on the schedule. So we may still get our 30 days yet. That would be my hope. I would prefer a move in on like the 22nd of July so I could take my trip and be back. But we will see what happens next.
And so this random phone call on a random Friday at a
Monday, like 2 days ago.
okay, a random
Mm-hmm.
Monday where you happen to randomly still be at the house past 4 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
resulted in not only one but
Mm-hmm.
two clients. And so you talked about the emotional experience of meeting and spending time with these individuals and being willing to, you know, make an exception in the profile of the clients that you accept. Um, can you tell a funny story about the second client and the phone call that happened with his WSC?
Oh, yeah. So he's 21. He has capacity. He makes his own decisions. So once, we told him that we would be willing to take him, he called his waiver support coordinator right then and was like, I found a home I'm going to go to. They're here right now. I can send you all the information. And she was like, well, you got a lot of homes reaching out about you. You should probably let a couple other ones meet you first before you make a decision. He was like, no, I'm going there. And she goes, well, if you go to Orlando, you'll probably need a new waiver support coordinator because I don't cover that area. He was like, that's fine. Like, and when she called us later, she was like, dang, I thought we had a connection, but apparently he's like, I'm out of here. So this is going to be interesting.
And it makes a little more sense because if I'm not mistaken, the two boys were roommates.
Yeah, they're roommates and they want to stay together. Well, only one can verbally communicate his wants, and he would like to stay with go to the same place that Lee's going. But I do think, and bleep that name out, I do think a part of him wanting to remain with his nonverbal roommate, right? Like, because he has so much ability. He can talk, he can play video games, he can be on the phone, he can be on the internet. His roommate can't do any of those things and is also nonverbal. And they've only been together for 2 years. But I think what comes with his roommate is his guardian, who's extremely involved
Mm.
and engaging. And I think he enjoys having that interaction. And he knows his roommate is going to get a visit at least twice a week. But now that he's 3 minutes away, that probably increases. So I think a part of it is, yes, I'm comfortable with my roommate, but I love my roommate's guardian. And I want to continue to have that relationship and experience that and be a part of that. So I do think that's a big part of his decision to want to stay together.
Yeah, and I just want to circle back to the networking aspect and how this adult day training center or whatever we want to call it for individuals in our, population realm.
Yeah, like a year in the making, right? So our first outreach to SECO was sometime last year. And we had them come out. We did a tour of their facility. We had them come to our house and do a tour. We had them come back again to do an assessment of one of our residents because we were trying to get him in the program. Um, every quarter, we'll donate like several cases of wipes. So we've just done enough to stay top of mind um, to an organization that's interfacing daily with the clients that we serve. And this is the fruit of that. And I didn't do extra stuff. I'm not emailing them every day or any of that. It was just our genuine interest, wanting to see what they did, having them come and see what we did, wanting to explore the option for one of our residents, and then wanting to be of service. Like we had extra wipes, they could use them. Here you go. So just simple things that helped foster a relationship strong enough for them to be willing to refer someone to us.
Yeah, and with that in mind, this makes me just even more excited for the possibilities for growth and connection that we established at the Family Cafe with the other vendors and the other relationships that we made.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so just for, anybody out there who's starting out, who's trying to figure it out, like, going to those provider meetings and talking to other providers. And yes, we all do the same thing, but we need each other. We need to know one another. We need to be connected because just because a client doesn't fit my profile doesn't mean that they can't fit yours.
Yeah, and it like each referral with the first person that moved in, we just tried to match clients to fit him. And now these two guys, they become what the vibe of the other house would be. You know, they're verbal, they're mobile, they eat, and so the rest of the referrals would match them. Um,
And to that end,
yeah.
I think that what you just expressed about the second client and the engagement that he probably grew fond of as a result of the nonverbal clients uh,
Guardian.
guardian, coming and being so active and participative in like just his, daily living stuff. Like we have a lot of families who contact us, call us, who are seeking more higher functioning environments, but there's
Mm-hmm.
just not a lot of those services out there. And it's sounding like that second house can potentially become that one of those spaces. And so that's just like really exciting when I think you have the right energy and commitment from your parent groups to
Mm.
make a space like that successful.
Yeah. And so, you know, yeah, this is a whole different area to learn, a whole different set of logistics. Um, so this will be interesting, and we'll be doing that also while putting together the second home. Uh, so, uh, a little scary, but it is what I asked for, and so I will transmute this fear into excitement soon enough.
So what are their non-nursing clients, what are their designations in terms of res hab?
One is an extensive one, and one is extensive two, which they have the same physical ability. The one who's extensive one, they have him extensive one because he talks, and I'm just like, he's still total care. So already we've had the conversation with the waiver support coordinator that a new supplemental funding request will need to be submitted to add nursing to him because he does have some medical issues that he just never received the services for. And we had maybe a 30-minute call just explaining to her what the process would be for her to request nursing services for him. I went through all the documents she would need to collect. I walked her through how to even like find the form on iConnect so that she could make the request. Um, because quite possibly he could be a nursing client in disguise because he has a Foley, which has been causing him to have recurrent UTI. So he probably needs to come off that and go to straight cath, which requires a nurse. And he has a BiPAP and a CPAP, so he has to use oxygen to breathe, which generally, if you have to adjust the oxygen or you have an individual at risk of not breathing, they probably need to be supervised by a nurse. So we will see what happens.
It sounds like there's a lot of
It
uneducated individuals, not, and maybe that's too
not
harsh of a word.
uneducated,
Unexperienced.
unaware,
Unexperienced. Okay.
because there are not a lot of medical clients, which is a lie because there are a lot. They're just not classified as such. And the clients that need medical attention are in standard group homes, not getting it. And when you read these support plans, this individual doesn't say anything about nursing, but I'm, from the experience of having a nursing home, I can see where you would need it. And so if you are a waiver support coordinator, I don't care if you've been doing it for 20 years, if you never had a client with
You
nursing,
don't know
you
what you
just
don't
don't
know.
know.
So you've talked to the WSC. You feel like there's room to potentially increase funding for um, these individuals.
For one, maybe not both. Because the second individual, he's extensive too, and he has like this injection that he has to get, but it's once every 8 weeks. So, not enough to justify nursing for him. But, we were making an exception for him anyway because he was of the age and, he fit the existing population of the house well enough. And in the 3 years since I've had the license, you rarely see nursing referrals come out. So we also got to the point where it's like, okay, we have 3 nursing clients. Um,
You're ahead of the game.
there's time. It takes time to find other ones. We have a second house that can hold 6. We can diversify just a little bit and use maybe 2 beds for non-nursing, knowing that we have another opportunity to serve nursing clients with the opening of the second home. So this was just a kind of, let's, why not? We have the space. We've been holding that space for some time.
And I remember that was a bit of a, I don't want to say
And
a
I'm happy
fight.
we did
It
it.
was a
I'm
conversation.
happy we did it, right? Because I'm happy that I took my time and learned how to operate this business versus having a full house in the first 6 months. That would have just been a disaster.
Well, this wasn't a conversation in the first 6 months, but anyway, I do agree with you in patience
Yeah.
versus, pace.
And also, it's not like I'm choosing these residents, right? They're kind of choosing me. I'm not looking at them like, oh, I think you would be great. Because there'll be a lot. There were a few that I was like, yes, I'll take this person. And then that doesn't work out or it falls apart. And the ones that are there, literally the 3 people that live in the house, they all came from the first resident. It all happened at that time. It just took, 6 months spacing out for them to show up. And so for me to meet these 2 individuals that are non-nursing that don't fit my client, and we've said no to 24-hour nursing patients. At least 3 24-hour nursing clients have come to try to get in, and we've said no. So for me to see the faces of these 2 non-24-hour nursing clients and it be an immediate yes, I really don't feel like I'm choosing.
And it also says to me that you're not just in this for the money. And that's a big thing too, right? Like the connection that you've just expressed that you experienced when, you met these 2 individuals and for you to be, you know, like, well, you got me.
Yeah.
you know, it was heartfelt,
Both of you.
right? And for that to reign supreme over trying to make dollars make sense, like I think that speaks to you doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, whatever.
One other thing you mentioned was how in, driving and that new referral coming out and you passing it over to Eva and how it was written up and you were just like, huh? It made this person seem like, the worst. And so your takeaway was,
Don't trust the support plan. Don't trust it. The support plan, a lot of times there's a lot of information left out. Um, they're not well written, or it's information from several years ago that must stay on there, and they haven't accurately like updated the profile of the individual. They're just adding like little one liners, not enough detail to explain to you that, okay, they had these behaviors, but they don't do that anymore. So
so you as a provider can't just take it at face
you can't
value.
just read the support plan and think you have a profile and say yes or no based on that. You should probably call the waiver support coordinator for every support plan. I don't know if you need to visit every single one, but you need to have the verbal conversation to get details and to find out what's accurate, what's true, what has changed, and to have them give you like a verbal profile of the
And
individual.
lastly, what does that conversation look like for you? How are you approaching, that dialogue with the WSC to get a more robust present day picture and
I
understanding of
just
the
call them and I ask them to tell me about the client. Like, I've read the support plan, but I would like to understand from you specifics about the client, their medical condition, their behaviors. Is everything that I'm reading here still relevant? Have there been any changes?
have they had any incidents of late?
Yeah, and I'll talk to the current home that they're in to find that out. And I think now moving forward, I'm probably gonna, because I would read some support plans and be like, it doesn't fit our home. And I wouldn't even call and investigate. Now, after this experience, I'm gonna call every single one because he was so different than how he was described. And he is not our target patient, but he was still a patient that we wanted to serve. And there could be a number of people like that. Like, okay, you're not exactly like who's in the home now, but you could still be a like a positive addition in your own way.
Yeah, and it's also a mixed bag of information. Support plan is one of them. The conversation with the waiver support coordinator is another. The conversation with the current existing facility is another, or the conversation with the case manager in the hospital if that's where they're being discharged is another. Then
Yeah.
there's the visit. There's
Yeah.
so many pieces that
Yeah.
really get
And
pulled.
let me tell you right now, I'm not visiting everybody because I'm soft. And if I see you in person, now I don't know what's happening to me. But so I'm not going to visit everybody, but I will call about everyone and have full conversations to make sure I'm getting a full understanding. But I probably shouldn't be the one visiting nobody no more. I think, yeah, yeah, I probably should stop doing that.
I think you're right where you need to be.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh, because I'd be ready to say no. Okay. I'd be ready to say no. Yeah.
Is your staffing going to be implemented? And then what is the compensation for the extensive one and extensive two? And how does that impact um, your business?
Extensive two is like maybe 9,600 a month. An extensive one could be 67 or 68. I don't know. But, at minimum, that's an additional 15,000 a month. But that comes with expenses too. So now we have to purchase food, not a thing we had to do before. Um, but both individuals are most likely eligible for food stamps. So we will apply for that for them, and then that would take the food purchasing costs away. As it stands, and I'm gonna like redo my staffing calculation sheet because that'll tell me based on having additional extensive ones and twos in the house how many staff I'm expected to have per shift. Because if it's all nursing clients, they're all classified as moderate, and two staff per shift works. So I have to see what the difference is with adding a second extensive one and an extensive two. But that doesn't mean Eva finna be working this summer. She finna be working because we don't have a second person at night, so she's gonna become the second. Plus, she already has 3 shifts in the day, and we'll do that to see what's needed. And most likely, the next thing we're hiring is like either a CNA or direct support at night. Most likely a CNA because I prefer
Someone with
someone with a license than just someone with a GED.
it's a good thing that the kids ain't here for the summer.
Oh, it's a good thing. Oh, July she's getting 100%. Yeah. But by August we'll straighten it out. We'll see what we have going on in July, and then work to interview to add a second at night.
Final words.
No.
Signing off. You've been a great sport. Thank you for this TED Talk.
Please stop recording because my pants are not zipped and I don't need nobody seeing that.
All right.